But yeah, I guess we could start at the beginning with this, with the Rambo or the Rumble, as they like to call it. And they keep teasing this. They had Billy Gunn in the ring, but of course he gets eliminated before Taguchi gets into the ring, and we never get to see the two ass men in the same place at the same time. But other than that, holy shit, did I love the NWO Japan reunion, especially when Cheeseburger got to join in on the fun. That was amazing.
I loved everything about this Rumble except for the fact that there was like a 25-minute break between the end of it and the start of the card. That, if they could have just filled that with some sort of pre-show panel, just so that it wasn't dead silent for the next half hour, that would have been so much better. But that Rumble was just stupid, crazy fun. It wasn't even a good match. It was just a fun match. It was one of those completely garbage matches where you don't even care because you just want to see the old stars.
I was missing some of the old stars. It's after, who was the last one that was in? Was it was Taguchi the last one in?
Hiro Saito, I think, was the last one to enter the ring.
It wasn't.
It was like, that's it? That's all?
No,
Yeah.
Scott Norton. Scott Norton was the last one. That's who it was.
That's what I was going to say, because if I remember the order right, it was Tenzan, Kobayashi, Nakanishi, Norton. Oh, no, wait, where was Saito in there? Saito was in there earlier.
Yoshitatsu, which the crowd booed, which made me just elated to hear the crowd booing Yoshitatsu.
But it was, last year we had
Nagata.
Fujiwara and Kabuki and a bunch of other guys, and it was like, this year it's like, there's, 12 guys in? Last year it was closer to 20, 22. I kind of missed seeing Fujiwara shuffle down to the ring and Kabuki get disqualified for whatever the hell he did last year.
Missed for misting somebody.
Yeah, I like the Rumble. I always love the pre-show Rumble. To me, the WrestleKingdom pre-show Rumble, with the exception of Cheeseburger, who I absolutely adore. He's a great guy. Kind of reminds me of like the Royal Rumble when you have all these surprise, old school guys come back and stuff. It's a great way for the fans to have some nostalgia. And I just love to see how, most of the time I love to see how the old school guys interact with Cheeseburger. To me, that's like some of the funniest things that they can do. What was it, last year when Fujiwara, was beating up on everybody and then Cheeseburger ran in and joined him and then he beat on Cheeseburger too, and then this year, the interaction between Scott Norton and Cheeseburger on both shows, I just love that. I love the nostalgia fact of it.
Two things that I love about that I want to add on to that is, first of all, the visual of Cheeseburger in NWO Japan when they all lined up on one side of the ring. That was fucking fantastic. The screen caps of that, the reactions to that were Twitter gold that early in the morning. I was getting a pure kick out of that. And the other thing I loved was when they did the stack up spot to eliminate somebody and whoever it was on the bottom just powered out of it. So then they did the same thing again and they put Cheeseburger on top of the pile and he was just enough additional weight to get the pin. That was hilarious. Yeah, that was Nakanishi that took the pin. That was great.
And the one thing you missed this morning, Stevie, was Cheeseburger doing Kojima's machine gun spaz chops in the corner, as only Cheeseburger could do it, of course.
Oh, that's fantastic. I just love the gimmick of New Japan legends giving Cheeseburger their spots to do, which coincidentally we saw Liger enter the Rumble right after Cheeseburger, and I knew that was coming. I was like, okay, Cheeseburger is Liger's favorite American wrestler, so he's got to be out next, and sure enough he was.
And Cheeseburger eliminated Boner, so that, made him everybody's hero.
Yes. So then we had our uncomfortably long silence, just like a couple of the ones I've had on this podcast tonight. And then we got Tiger Mask W defeating Tiger the Dark in a singles match. And for those who weren't paying attention, that was two very familiar wrestlers. Kota Ibushi was W and ACH was Dark.
I was expecting this one to go longer than it did. I think it was a little bit short. They could have given it a little bit more time.
Especially after we had to wait 25 minutes before anything happened. They could have gone like 10 or 15.
Okay, yeah, you can quit mentioning it went, the 20-minute break. It happens every year.
Well, I would have rather had that 20-minute break in the middle. They didn't give us an intermission, because they could have put that in the middle of the show.
They never do. There's never an intermission at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
Intermission is for the weak.
Well, I had my own intermission because I kind of passed out a little bit during the 6-man and woke back up again. So you guys will have to fill me in when we get to that.
But boy, there was a weird finishing move that Ibushi, Tiger Mask Ibushi did to Tiger the ACH, that Tiger Driver into a last ride into a pop-up Liger Bomb pin. It was just truly bizarre, but it was a sight to behold.
I have to ask the Incredible Hulk a question real quick.
Go ahead.
Have you ever had a chance to work with ACH?
Yeah, look. Yeah, well, I haven't. I worked on shows with ACH. I've never worked him one-on-one. But there's been several shows and stuff that we've shared locker rooms. Matter of fact, and Killer Kev might love this, if you ever talk to ACH, I actually introduced him to Bojangles here in North Carolina. He had never had Bojangles. It turns out that ACH is a huge chicken aficionado. Pause for racial tension. And so he was hungry and he wanted something to eat, and so I introduced him to Bojangles here in North Carolina. But yeah, I know who ACH is. Like I said, I've worked around him, several times.
Alright, here's my quick ACH story. I went to a Pro Wrestling Guerrilla show in Reseda 3 or 4 years ago now. Never been to a show that he was on, had never seen him before, and I didn't realize that at the American Legion in Reseda, you're supposed to get in this big line and wait outside for like 2 hours until they give the all clear. So I just walked in the entrance, and there he was, just practicing moves and talking to people, and I was like, oh shit, I heard this guy was good, this must be ACH. And then somebody came over and they're like, man, you gotta get out of here, you're not supposed to be in here yet. I'm like, oops, sorry, didn't know. So I walked back out the door, pulled out my 3DS thinking I was going to have to kill some time, play some video games, and I had a bunch of street passes. I flipped it open, looked at my street passes. One of them was Go ACH. So he's a gamer.
Oh, he's a serious gamer. Serious gamer, serious like, Japanese anime aficionado and stuff. Like, yeah, he's a total complete wrestling nerd.
Great. Well, he'd fit in great on this show. We got to get him on as a guest then.
Yeah, you might want to. Tom is running short with ACH. I'm not going to give out any secrets to him, but Tom is running short with ACH. So
yeah, I've heard he's going places. So that doesn't surprise me too. He's an incredibly talented dude. So a lot of people would want him.
I'm saying. I mean, I heard he likes to do. He's talking about going out to an orphanage in Mexico to help out El Generico and Kevin Steen. So.
Yeah, I can see that happening. I can see that happening very soon. But
poor orphan kids.
Then we moved on to what I think had to be one of Jason's favorite matches. Maybe not a 5-star match, but I know he enjoyed the result of this.
I enjoyed the result, yeah. Rocky Romero is definitely one of my favorite wrestlers in New Japan Pro Wrestling and one of the most underrated wrestlers on the planet. And holy hell did he take a beating in this match. But he was able to survive the beating. He was able to survive a super kick party, a 450 splash from one of the Young Bucks when he was hung up in the ropes. He ate a second super kick party. I mean, dude kept coming, and finally just out of nowhere, a crucifix roll up, and it was like, wow. It's surprising to see that in New Japan. Usually it's some big powerful finisher with the junior heavyweights at some big high flippy dippy spot that finishes it off. But I like this because this added an element of realism that we don't often see, because usually the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship is a clusterfuck of 3 teams or 4 teams or 5 teams all battling it out. This was just the Young Bucks and Roppongi Vice, and just out of nowhere. I actually like the finish with this one.
Well, I'm going to give Abby her chance to be a contrarian here, because I'm going to quote something Dave said in his review of this on Observer Radio. He said, the greatest thing about this was the fact that it was a roll-up finish, because every now and then in a New Japan match, you need a straight-up pinfall or a crucifix to remind people that not everything is going to go 20, 30 minutes and end on a high-flying move.
Oh, God.
I knew you were going to be contrarian to that.
No, I'm just not really contrarian about it, but by that same token, there aren't many New Japan matches that go 20, 30 minutes. And there aren't many that end on a really high-flying move.
I probably am not wording it the exact same way he did. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, so don't take that as me quoting him word for word.
But my thing with this match was these absolute scariness of the spray tans of the Young Bucks. It reminded me, and I posted the gif from Friends of Ross, where it looked like he went to the tanning salon on the sun, and they were orange. They were just so damn dark. It's like, what the hell were y'all doing?
Well, it wasn't scary enough that they had like 6 different sets of tag belts with them. I mean, I don't think they could have carried any more stuff.
The PWG, the ROH, the IWGP Junior, and their very own self-made Super Kick Party championship belts.
Yes, so, they have their own version of the Smoking Skull belt now.
Yes, that they sell at YoungBucksMerch.com. So there's a cheap plug for the Bucks. But let's give Trent Beretta some love in this match. That dive he took over the top rope and completely missed everybody and bounced off the mat.
I thought he fucking killed himself on that move.
I did too.
How about the German superplex that he hit? That was sick.
Yeah, but that dive to the outside where he literally bounced off the floor. Yeah, let's give Trent some love about taking a beating because he sure as hell did too.
I think Trent was looking for the love on Twitter because I saw everybody praising Rocky Romero, and then all of a sudden I saw a tweet from Trent saying, "Oh, I guess you were just in this match all by yourself."
Yeah, because it was something Rocky tweeted. It was a picture of him holding the belt that said 7 times, and Trent retweeted it and said, "Oh, yeah, it was all just you." Like, yeah, come on, man, show Trent some love. He was there too.
I feel like they're trying to be the Cesaro and Sheamus of New Japan right now. The guys that are really good together but don't really like each other.
It's like, come on, Mom and Dad, the kids need you. Quit fighting.
Okay, Incredible Hulk, your thoughts?
I like the fact that it was a roll up because most of the time with New Bucks match, when you have the Young Bucks and stuff in the match, it usually ends in some high flying spotty move. Even when they lose, it's some high flashy spotty, some high impact move. And the fact that they lost to a wrestling move, I really popped. I was sitting there, trying to be quiet. For you guys, I don't know what time it was for you, but for me, it's like 4:00 in the morning. Everybody in my house is asleep. I'm downstairs, my office, trying not to pop. And when that happened, I literally had to bite my shirt to stop, from yelling out loud. I gotta agree with the lady over here. Trent Beretta took probably the second worst bump of the night. That was really scary. As a wrestler, when you see something like that happen, you really get concerned. Cause even though they have, the really thick mats and stuff on the floor, that's still a very hard bump to take. And guys, guys' careers and stuff has been shortened a lot. Guys, they take time off from taking, regular, really bad bumps inside the ring. You can get a concussion from a misplaced German suplex, and for him to take a dive and then basically miss everybody and just land flat, and like she said, bounce, off the padding a couple of inches. I was really worried that he was not going to get up. I was really concerned as a wrestler, as one of the boys, that he was not going to get up, and I was kind of pissed off at everybody else in the match because, when you do the dive, I'm gonna let your listeners behind the scenes or whatever, if they're not already smart to it. It's your responsibility to catch somebody, make sure the guy lands his face. And I feel like, those guys didn't protect him. And if he would have got seriously hurt and would have had to, take time off or whatever, A, New Japan is losing money. B, he's losing money. His family, he can't provide for his family. And it's basically their fault. So, as much as I was worried about Trent, I was mad at everybody else in that ring.
Well, Huck, I don't think it's too much of a shock to our fans on this show that the wrestlers are responsible for catching the other wrestlers. That's why we always see the small guys diving towards the biggest guy standing on the outside. You want somebody big to catch you, so if he does it, at least you got some cushion.
Exactly. I mean, if everybody's not going to catch you, at least if you aim for the biggest guy and you make contact with him, the bump won't be as bad because at least you got some kind of cushion.
Exactly. All right.
You'll break your fall.
You got it. So let's move on to the gauntlet for the never openweight 6-man title. like I told Abby and Jason that night, I was there, I was watching it, but the tape stopped going through the recorder. It spooled out, and I don't remember any of this.
This was a confusing clusterfuck. Abby had to remind me that it was a gauntlet match, because I'm like, wait a minute, where are the tag champs? Because it started off with the Bullet Club team taking on, who are they taking on?
Chaos.
Chaos, that's right. Jado, Will Ospreay, and who was the other guy in there?
Tacos.
Ah, Yoshihashi, that's right.
How could you forget that hair?
What I can't forget is that shooting star press that Adam Page did that just made me cringe off the ring apron. So it's like, ooh.
Page is like, he does not need to be in Bullet Club. He's like on the Bullet Club D team, but he is one of the best guys in the Bullet Club wrestling wise. And I just can't stand him because he's in
Hold on, Paul. Did you say that Page should not be in the Bullet Club because he's on the B squad?
No, I said they put him on the Bullet Club D team, and he's one of the best wrestlers in the Bullet Club.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you was like, he shouldn't be in the Bullet Club. Like, whoa.
No. And he's stuck out there with, Yujiro of all people.
He's better than he's booked. He needs to be higher up in the group.
Yeah, he needs to be higher up on the food chain.
Well, the way I look at it is that Adam Page is, he's like one of the newest, besides Cody Rhodes, he's one of the newest members of the Bullet Club, so he has to pay his dues. I mean, look at Chase Owens. Chase Owens is technically been member.
Not look at Chase Owens.
Huck, I gotta let you in on something real quick since you haven't been on this show in a while. We have a nickname for Chase Owens on this show. We call him Man Bun.
Or the other one. I can't ever remember who the hell he is.
Okay, well, I know Chase personally, and I know Adam. I've worked with both of them in the ring, and I like both the guys, especially Adam Page. Adam Page outside the ring is one of the nicest guys ever, if he likes you. But get back to my original statement, besides Cody Rhodes, Adam Page is like the newest member of the Bullet Club, so he kind of has to pay his dues.
The Bone Soldier, too, he's newer. Well, no, Cody is, but that's just because they had a pick left over after they got their first choice in Bone Soldier.
Are we really going to count the Boner Soldier as like a member of the Bullet Club?
He's a member.
He's like more like the mascot.
No, he's a member.
He reminds me of like the Virgil of the NWO. Like, he's not really a member. He's like more like a mascot. Like,
it's rare that I would say this, but that's actually insulting to Virgil. I would not compare him to Bone Soldier.
No, it's totally Virgil. But I mean, I feel like as time progresses and stuff, we will see Adam Page in bigger matches and stuff. Like you said, he already has the talent. We can tell he's one of the better wrestlers in the Bullet Club and stuff. But you have to introduce him to the Japanese fans some kind of way, and putting him with somebody that is already established there as a heel, is going to help him only get better, in my opinion.
All right.
I think it's a clash of styles putting him with somebody like Takahashi, but I don't think it's a bad fit putting him with someone like Fale. It's like you've got two guys who are, Fale's just huge, but, Page is not a small guy either. It's like I can see the two of them kind of, and Fale's been there since the beginning, so put him there with an old hand and let him do that, but yeah, keep our sleeves away from both of them.
Well,
sorry. Go ahead.
Getting back to the gauntlet itself, before we get lost in discussing Adam Page, how did we get to the point where Los Ingobernables won at the end? Because there were several eliminations between Chaos and Adam Page and everything else. How did we get to that point?
Chaos gets eliminated first, so then the next team comes down of Bushi, Evil, and Sonata to take on Bullet Club. And the winner of this round will then go on to face the title holders Finlay, Ricochet, and Kojima. So round two, fight! Jiro Takahashi, Bad Luck Fale, and Page are taking on Bushi, Evil, and Sonata.
Yes, and there wasn't enough penicillin for Yujiro being in the ring.
God, he brought the sleeves with him.
The Donnie Darko strippers made their appearance again. Well, there's just one Donnie Darko stripper this time.
That one is his girlfriend, I think. The pole dancer with rabbit ears. That's his girlfriend.
Y'all are just ruthless. Wow.
Have you never listened to us before?
Wow, Okay.
Tai Chi. It'll get bad.
Yeah, we really talk some shit on Tai Chi when we talk about him.
Oh.
We will get to him, but yeah, because Bullet Club had been in there, they were just kind of ripe for the picking here for Los Ingobernables, and it's lights out when Sonata locks in the skull end, and he locked it in on our sleeves, and I hope he disinfected his arm afterwards from it being wrapped around Yujiro's head there.
Now
because we don't know where that head's been.
Here's another chance for Abby to be contrarian if she wants. Dave reported that in the Tokyo Dome, there were tons of people wearing Los Ingobernables masks, t-shirts, and merchandise.
Oh, yes, there were. You could see, they posted pictures of people going into the Dome, and it was like, count the LIJ hats. And it's like, there's a fucking sea of them.
I love the sound of that. That's good news to me.
And my response to that is there always are. This is no surprise. You see it at most New Japan shows. There's always at least a section, if not, just scattered throughout the entire crowd. People in Bushi masks, or people with the baseball jerseys on, or somebody with a Los Ingobernables de Japón baseball hat. Yeah, the Los Ingobernables are getting over with the crowd. It's finally organically over. It's a good fit. And yeah, they were primed to take those hotshot 6-man, never keep the belt on you tag titles.
I guess the other reason I'm happy about that is with 26,000 people in attendance, if that many people were wearing their merch, that's a lot of merchandise revenue they made.
Yeah, they're New Japan Shop's top sellers.
Mm-hmm.
So my opinion of this match is that it was like, I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to give everybody their spot. Like, everybody has worked so hard for the company over the past year. Everybody wants to be on the show, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This was probably the only match that I would have changed. I don't feel like they needed all of those things. But as a wrestler, I think I can understand what they're trying to do. It was kind of like a trend throughout the show that the main factions was LIJ, Bullet Club, Chaos. And you slowly started seeing, where Bullet Club was like the heel faction in New Japan, is now they're turning more babyface, and the crowds really get behind them. And you start to see Naito and everybody in LIJ, work more heelish. I think that they have taken the place of what the Bullet Club used to be. When the Bullet Club first started, it was very organic. The crowd got behind it, the fans got behind it. And I think that it's slowly being watered down, if I can say that. And now the Japanese fans have something that's more organic. They have a Japanese-based stable, that they can really get behind.
Yeah, Bullet Club has kind of become NWO. Let's just throw people into it.
Yeah.
And it's way too long.
Yeah, it's nothing like what it used to be.
Yes. I feel like, and I think I've talked to, Zane and Killer Kev about this, is that, and we made a discussion about the fact that when you have a really good group, the bad thing about it is, when it's hot, everybody wants to be a part of it. And when it loses its exclusivity, that's when it starts getting watered down. That's when the fans get tired of it. The Bullet Club was really great when it was, when Prince Devitt was the leader of the Bullet Club, and then AJ Styles was the leader of the Bullet Club and stuff. But when you start getting rid of those core guys or whatever, and you start just letting everybody in, it really loses its attraction.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really the strength of Los Ingobernables right now, is that it is a small club, it is a small membership, and you get to know each one of those guys, and they have very distinct personalities. You're not seeing 15 members of Bullet Club or the New World Order or anything else. It's just that core group of guys that are badass.
And they bring them in one at a time, too, which was nice. They're not bringing in 2 and 3 guys at a time like they did in Bullet Club from ROH. It was...
And they space it out.
Yeah, and it's spaced out over time, so you get to know each member individually.
Mm-hmm.
You get to know Crushed Velvet Laserfingers. You get to know Mr. Skull End. You get to know Bushi. You get to know Time Bomb.
Yeah, and one of my current favorites, Hiromu Takahashi, or as you keep pointing out over and over again, Kamitachi. We knew him before that, but I like him better under his real name.
Yeah, he just licks everything. You think after a while he gets sick.
As long as he doesn't lick anything from the other Takahashi, he'll be fine.
Oh.
I'm still trying to figure out if they're related.
I hope not.
No, because it started out that they were brothers. I mean, that came out when they changed his name back to his real name. And everybody started talking about, oh, well, you know, their mother this, their mother that. And it's like, they're brothers, and nobody can verify that they're actually related.
Well, Japan is only so big, so, you know, they're all related one way or another.
I could also say that about some parts of the South.
Hey, now don't start
Whoa! Whoa. Addie, where are you from?
I'm from Georgia.
What part?
Albany, South Georgia.
How have you never been to an AWE show? My feelings are kind of hurt.
I don't know.
Oh, got her, Stevie.
Yeah,
got her.
You got her.
Zack Sabre Jr. was in Atlanta, and he didn't even come to the show.
I'm sorry.
Fired. You call
I'm so
yourself a
sorry.
wrestling fan. Busted.
Well, I don't feel too bad for her, though, because I could be busted for the exact same thing. There was an NXT house show here, and I didn't make it to it.
Yes, but this is Zack Sabre Jr.
Here, and I didn't go.
But once again, this is Zack Sabre Jr. How often is he in the South?
Oh, hell. Now I feel real bad.
Uh-huh.
No, he was in the south of England quite a bit.
Okay, well, if you don't want to feel bad, maybe you can make fun of either Cody or Juice Robinson, Abby. Maybe that'll cheer you up a little bit.
Actually, this match, to me, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. And I give all of the credit in the world to Juice. And I feel kind of bad for Cody because he came into almost no reaction.
Well, we predicted as much on this show.
Yeah, and it was kind of like, you got to kind of feel bad for him because I'm sure that New Japan was expecting something different and he was, and he made several missteps during the match, and, you know, I give a lot of the credit in the match to Juice for making it as good as it was.
I've heard a lot of people say after that match that they didn't realize this was the same guy that was CJ Parker in NXT because they were impressed with how good he was in the ring compared to what they remembered.
He's really found his niche in New Japan. I think that was the best move for him, and he's allowed to be himself instead of them trying to fit him into a mold in the WWE, you know.
Yeah, he no longer has to be the eco-warrior Greenpeace fighting for justice. Now he can really just be a pro wrestler learning how to be a good pro wrestler.
Yeah, instead of being on that assembly line that is WWE trying to, you know, turn out cookie-cutter wrestlers, he can be himself and do his own thing.
Or be the character that they force you to be.
Stop buying your trunks at the same place Jack Gallagher does, because the rainbow love just isn't working for you.
Okay, do not start on Jack Gallagher again.
I thought,
since Will doesn't know, I have a nickname for Jack Gallagher. I call him Mini Rainbow Sheamus.
I thought we had turned the corner on him last week after the awesomeness of 205 Live.
I did get to see the duel segment. I did get to see the glove slap, so that was cool. But Juice wearing those Juice out rainbowed Jack Gallagher. I'll put it that way. I'm only using Jack Gallagher as a point of comparison because Juice Robinson completely topped it. And this is why, kids, public service announcement. This is why you don't go into the bathroom at midnight and say Bloody Mary into your mirror 3 times, because if you do, Juice Robinson and Cody Rhodes will appear in your mirror and you'll be forced to watch the whole fucking match.
Now hold on.
It wasn't that bad at all.
Go ahead, Huck.
It was not a bad match. I think that match was perfectly placed in the show after you had, like, you know, the clusterfuck that was the gauntlet match. I'm sorry, I meant to ask, can I curse on this show?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so it was perfectly placed, you know, in between the slobber knocker clusterfuck that was the never openweight, like, tag team match, and then the match right after that. It was a perfect segue. I hate to call it the popcorn match, but it's the popcorn match. Every show needs one. I feel bad for Cody Rhodes because I feel like New Japan, just like a bunch of the indies in America, once they realize, oh shit, Cody Rhodes is out of his contract, he's left WWE, let's go ahead and grab him before somebody else does. I feel like they rushed him coming into New Japan. I feel like initially there was no build up to him. There was no surprise, like, oh shit, Cody Rhodes is in Japan.